When you're kind of a mid-level leader or below, you can really just focus on your team.
Yeah.
Focus on your team, your business, your little island. Works really, really well. And to be very honest and very transparent and candid, you're probably competing with other managers at your same level for the next job.
Yes.
So you kind of want to show how great you are with your little island. That gets you promoted. But then that needs to change. So here's a great story that I love to share. So several years ago, I was doing a session on executive presence for a group of senior leaders. And they said, they used a basketball analogy. They said, what gets you promoted in our organization is scoring lots of points a night. Dropping 45 points a night. That's what gets you promoted. So you're kind of outperforming your peers. They said, but that's not executive presence, which is another way of saying brand at a senior level, executive presence. They said, that's not executive presence. That's not a good brand. The executive presence is points and assists. You're passing the ball so other people can score. So I think that's another derailer and thing that I commonly see with clients is they get to senior levels, they're still trying to focus on just their organization as if it's number one, and they need to make sure they're passing the ball as much as possible and helping other people score, which is a hard muscle to learn because you're used to these people next to you being competitors for the next, friendly competitors, frenemies, right? For the next job. But there is no next job. You're a senior executive. You've got to pass the ball, and that's a little different.
So can I share a more obscure story?
Yes.
So there was a chapter in my last book, Upon Reflection, on what a 12th century saint can teach us about candor. I don't know if you remember the story.
Yeah.
But it was about St. Thomas Becket. And before St. Thomas Becket was eventually murdered by the king for being too candid, he was on his way.
That's not a good endorsement not a good endorsement for candor, Randy.
No, there's
a
silver lining there.
There is a possibility you could get murdered, but that's okay.
But the story is on his way to be ordained as the Archbishop of Canterbury. He turned to a trusted friend, and what's been handed down to us is the conversation. And he said to his friend, "I need you to come to me in private when I err. It is dangerous for men in power to not have candid voices in their lives." So that has been handed down to us through history. What's interesting and relevant to your point about what happens as you go up the food chain, as you grow your career, as you get more senior, fewer and fewer people tell you what's really going on. You live in a bubble. So unless you specifically go out and seek feedback, unless you've got trusted counselors and guides around you, you often are less and less inclined to really know how people think about you because you live in that bubble. So St. Thomas Becket's advice is always have people around you who are trusted that will come and tell you what's going on.
All right, Randy, you just built our bridge for us. So we're going to move into the last part of the conversation.
I'm a known bridge builder.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic. So we're going to now move into how do you, if you think or have hints, or maybe your brand has been damaged.
Yes.
What can you do to start to repair, rebuild, or transform your brand?
So I will take you through the way that I approach a typical executive coaching engagement. We're both executive coaches. We do similar work. And I think about almost every single engagement. There are really a couple of things going on. This leader, which by the way is a leader that the company values because they're making a significant financial investment. So we want this leader to thrive, but they're a little off track. Something's happened. They may have damaged their brand. They need to acquire a new skill to get to the next level, whatever the reason is. So we come into an engagement knowing we need to help this leader bridge the gap somewhere. But we typically almost always have some brand damage. Something has happened to get this leader on the radar where we need to get them a coach. So a couple of things, and I think we both follow a similar pattern. We do robust 360 process.
Yep.
I will interview 15 to 20 people around that leader, their supervisor, all their peers, all their directs, other members of the team, and stakeholders in the org. And I interview all of them. It's a live interview. It's not a survey. I don't think feedback surveys are not helpful. I interview them. I gather all the feedback. It's anonymous. And then I share the raw feedback along with themes that have emerged from the feedback. So this leader, often for the first time, almost every time, is getting feedback that they've never heard before.
Right.
They had no clue that they were
Agreed.
coming across a certain way. They had no idea that people had a feeling about them. They were talking about them negatively in the closed rooms. So I think that feedback process is invaluable.